I think if we beat West Ham, that will jump up to 95%. I just think that is the hardest game. That is it. I know we say it with every single game,
It's a cup final.
It's a cup final. They're actually scrapping for something. I think you would bet you would think that Arsenal at home against Burnley, we would do what we need to do, and then last day of the season against Crystal Palace, like they're not really fighting for anything either, and they could potentially be in a Europa Conference League final, and so they may rest players on that day, like because it's basically over. So it's that West Ham game. It is so important for us to go there and take care of business. So yeah, I think if we beat them, to me, it's like 95% certainty. This is just the most important, So yeah, and City play before us. So, if they get the points, then the pressure is back on. We see how the pressure, I think, really did get to them on Monday, playing under the lights 2 days after Arsenal. Man. Yeah, 2 days after Arsenal just absolutely walked past Fulham. It just didn't feel good for them. You could tell like it was just a pressure cooker, So yeah, the pressure will be back on us and we just have to rise to the occasion. But yeah, I would say 95% if we beat West Ham. I'm about 75% now. If we do win, I will be at the parade.
Hey, you need to be. And what are you saying for the champs? Like, what's your percentage of the champs before we get into in-depth?
It's a one-off, so I would give us more of a chance in a one-off instead of like a two-leg. I would say it could go either way, maybe 60-40. I think we're the underdog, which is not normal. It's so rare that I feel like, at least from my perspective, since maybe like the last 3 years, it's felt very rare that I go into a game and feel like we're the underdog.
It's either even in Europe.
Yeah, I think so.
Real Madrid, PSG, Bayern in recent years.
Yeah, I would say against probably, but I'm saying like this like a handful of times. Like it's just probably Bayern and probably Real Madrid, where I thought this is like a mismatch. Even against PSG in the group phase last season, we didn't really know what PSG were until they actually went through that.
Is she cutting out? Are you cutting out, Jess, or is it me?
They look good, but we didn't. Hold on.
Is that me or Jess, people?
Am I back?
Say something again.
Am I back?
Yeah. I just heard you. People, is it me or Jess? Let me get my Ethernet cable. I get paranoid at this.
Am I back? Sorry. I think it's only been a handful of times recently under Mikel Arteta where I actually thought this team is just, we're the underdog here, So I think that we win the league and can go into that game kind of relaxed. You have all the chance in the world to do what you want to do in that final. And that's kind of what I want. I really want them to focus on these next 3 games, win the Prem. And then, it sounds weird. It's not like a throwaway, but it's a game in which most people will not choose us to win. So we can just kind of do what we need to do. Like there's, it's not like you're going in there against a team that feels like they're the underdog. So yeah, I think the Champions League probably about 60-40 right now. We're the underdog, but that doesn't mean that we can't win it. It's a one-off game. So,
like you said, it's a one-off game, and that's where my fuck it, delusion, if I'm honest, because when I look at it from a sporting point of view, I know we beat them in the league phase, and I know how it ended last year. I know Saka's spoken about revenge, in which you could say that's PSG. It might even extend to Bayern Munich because they've had our number historically in Europe. I think it was quite cryptic. My optimism is just, it's a one-off. You never know what could happen. Go and enjoy it. We're in a new kind of realm, etc., etc. Obviously, from a tactical point of view, you look at what Luis Enrique does. You look at them on the transition. You look at their individual quality. I said this to you before, I would have preferred to play Bayern Munich because Company hasn't managed in the Champions League final, neither has Arteta. I think their high line could have been got at. But at the end of the day, when you're in this realm, this is the sort of level of opposition you can play in it. And on one hand, I do think it's PSG's time to dominate Europe, but I just have this approach of have your cake and eat it. You know what the Champions League means to me. I just want to get the Premier League over the line. If you win the Champions League, great. Obviously, I'll be disappointed if you
Yeah.
don't. And that's another thing, yeah, because I'm jumping ahead. And, you know, there's a reality we win only the Prem or only the Champs, or we win both, or we win nothing. But you know how the agendas are going to be. Like, do you think people will look at our season as a failure if we win the Premier League and then obviously go and lose in the last game of the season, which would be the Champions League? Mainly the external noise and maybe internally with Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there will be a desperation to
100%.
paint our season as some sort of failure if we don't, win multiple trophies. That being said, it's like, how long are we going to care what the outside noise says? Like, genuinely, who really cares? Like, there's always going to be a desperation to paint like, oh, Arsenal, they have to get to the final of the Champions League. If they don't, it's a failure. Now we have. Oh, well, now it's a failure if you don't. Who cares? Like,
Now we had the easiest run to the Champions League final.
yeah, it's the outside noise to me is just what it is. It's noise. I think there will be a desperation to paint our season as a failure no matter what happens. But ultimately, it's like winning your first Premier League in 21 years or winning your first Champions League ever, no matter how you slice it, is
If not both.
is a positive, perfect season to me. So who really cares? The outside noise is just about trying to throw us off and ultimately to make themselves feel better about Arsenal getting to a point where they may not be able to dog us.
And being able to kind of not focus on their own team's nonsense.
Exactly. So who really cares? Like, I'm not going to care about anything. If we win the Prem or the Champions League, or I'm not listening to anything. I'm not going to be hearing nothing.
I am, because I want to see people crying and crashing out and moving the goalposts and doing all of that kind of stuff. But beyond the obvious will be whether it's people like yourself that don't live in England that will be obviously coming to England, or people wherever. It's just about rejoicing the moment. Lord knows how much hurt's been happening to us domestically, even this season, historically. The same goes for Europe. And we wanted to be in this realm. We know we're a competitive side. We've taken a next step in being competitive. And now, cool, we didn't win the League Cup final, but we got there. Champions League, we don't know how it's going to work. Before a ball's been kicked, is 50%. The Premier League needs to come over the line. Now it's just about going down in history. It's a weird one, man. It's a weird one because I did think the league was gone at Bournemouth. I did think the league was gone at Wolves away. Other than that, I am of the belief again. I think you said it at the beginning. We need to focus on West Ham in it. Like, West Ham is the most important game. That is a potential banana skin. On the face of it, obviously, we've got a great record against them and things like that. They have dented our hopes. They're fighting for their lives. We're fighting for the league. The whole Declan Rice factor. It's going to be interesting. They lost to Brentford. So it's going to be an interesting one. And as you pointed out as well, like, before we kick a ball, we'll actually end tomorrow, Saturday, with a game in hand because of Brentford. So it's a weird one. Hopefully Brentford do us a favour. I actually think City beat Brentford and then we focus on Bournemouth. I want to ask you this, though, because I've asked you this almost every time we've done a stream, but now we're actually in a Champions League final. Premier League, every game's a cup final. If I could go on my right-hand, Champions League, Premier League, which one are you going for if you can't have both?
I want that Premier League really bad.
So do I, man. But the champs just ain't done that.
I know it. I get it. I totally hear the argument about the Champions League because we've never done it. But I just can't fathom the last 4 seasons and we still haven't done that. I need there to be a moment where Arteta gets one over on Pep. He has to. We must. Like, he needs that for his spirit to rest. Like, you just need it, And I get the Champions League is like the one thing that we're going to have more opportunities there. We're going to have more opportunities. I know we're going to get to another final. Like, we'll get there. But this is it. This Prem, we have to get it. We need that. So, and I feel like it feels weird, even though we're 90 minutes away from winning a Champions League. I actually feel like oddly we're closer in the Prem.
It's not odd.
We're right there. Like, we're right there. Like,
it's not odd at all. Like, this is the past shows you finished second. This is our first final since 2006. It's not odd at all, Jess.
Yeah. So, yeah. If I had to choose, I would choose the Prem. but I totally understand the Champions League. And if you ask me tomorrow, I might say Champions League. You know, there's plenty of reasons for both, I think.
That's why I asked you, just because I'm tossing and turning. You asked me in August, obviously before a ball's kicked. I want the Champions League for reasons you explained. Obviously, to where we are now, I agree with the last thing you said. I might say the Premier League today, Champions League tomorrow. It's a weird one because obviously, if everything goes to plan, yeah, we've won the. Not only have we won our first Champions League, we've won it unbeaten, so it could be gold. We've won it against Luis Enrique, who's up there with Pep Guardiola. We've won it with the run we've had and everything people are saying. But then I do agree with the Prem because we have been on a 20 plus year drought. We have been on 4 years under Mikel Arteta trying to get over the line.
Yeah.
I do think the club kind of needs this. And obviously, if we were to just win the Champions League, I'd be happy. I'd be drunk off my nut. But when I sober up, it would still be minimum 5 years and counting without a Premier League. And there would have to be something to address. Even if we get the Premier League over the line, there's certain things internally that everybody can see we need to do better.
Yeah.
So that we're not talking about the same thing. So it's a weird one. And I gotta ask, because I do, for what it's worth, I do think we're 90% likely to win the Premier League. Champions League, I'm quite pessimistic, but fingers, toes, everything crossed, right? That's it, so we could win 2 trophies or none, or well, we could win 2 trophies or 1. What if we win none? And I only say this to you because we would have got to a Champions League final, we got to a League Cup final, we went out the FA Cup, and we've ran the Premier League close. And I am more warming to the idea of, I know there's pros and cons, but one more year of the gaffer, like, what do you say to that? Because who are we gonna get realistically? Like, and I'm not saying this as a cop out. Like,
it's just it's the unfathomable at this stage. It's unfathomable, man. Like, it really is. Like, I just cannot imagine a world in which we're right here, right now, and we don't win anything. If we didn't, I don't expect Mikel Arteta to go anywhere, and I understand the reasons why it would not make sense for him to go. Would I lose a lot more? Like, would I lose a lot of faith? Absolutely. Like, I think
100%.
I'm already at the stage where I'm like, you gotta start winning something, dog. Like, I really don't know. Like, I really don't know. You've done absolutely everything but that. I think that's what irritates me more than anything is it's like you have everything but that, but that's the one thing that you definitely need, So I wouldn't expect him to go anywhere. And of course, like, everyone would just go again. But I can't think or I can't imagine a world in which that happens and there isn't a lot of like questions about if is he just a nearly man, like, that kind of stuff.
Valid
So
as well.
yeah. But yeah, if we only win the league, you still want Arteta out? No, of course not.
You win the league, you can stay. Like,
Yeah, my whole thing this season was he needs to win a trophy. Like, that's it. He just needs to win. I don't just win. Just win something. Like,
over the line now, man.
But I think like it depends on how you think. Some people are pretty black and white, and other people live in the gray area. And the gray area is that even if he doesn't win something this season, he's still the best option that we can have. He's still done so much, so we're so close. He's built so much. And then there's black and white, win or you're not the guy, so I probably lean a little bit more towards that, but I get it. I'm not making the decisions. And maybe if I was running the club, we'd be in administration. So what do I know?
It's a weird one, just because realistically, like, he's gonna probably sign a new deal anyways. And what you said there about the grey area, I think is facts. There is a degree of the grey area that there's a lot of pros and cons to Mikel Arteta. There's also white and black, where I do think we've kind of approached as a football club. And I've said this to you before. I think if you genuinely rate Mikel Arteta, excluding the Peps and Luis Enrique's, and indirectly think he's one of the best, and excluding the PSGs and the Bayerns and these kind of teams historically, and you do think Arsenal one of the most competitive sides, and you're ready to waffle about our defenders and certain individuals, and we saw the statistics, as just said there, the one thing actually now is getting some history, whether that is a League Cup, whether that is a Champions League by God's grace, or a Premier League, or anything beyond what we won in his first initial season. And I do think if we end up silverware-less, as much as I'm fond of the gaffer, they might just need another voice. this might be the end of his story. He might be exhausted. There's also that reality as well. Now, clearly the club are going to keep him. He's got a year left. There's talk of a new deal. He might pull a pep and say, you know what, I don't think he will, but I'm tired. I want to win. I mean, I want to kind of calm down. What if he won a Premier Champs and said, you know what, quit while you're ahead? So it's a techie one, man.
Yeah.
But we need to get silverware.
Yeah, you just must at this stage where we're at. Like, I don't know about, I would love to know, like, people in the comments that were maybe a little bit more like pessimistic, especially before the Everton game and our Fulham game, because they go hand in hand. The way that we're playing plus the dropping of the points makes a huge difference, right? Did you not feel again that it's meant to be? Like, there's surely, how many times are City going to drop points before we just freaking grab it and just say, this is ours, actually? So I don't know. That was probably the first time this season outside of when we played City that I actually watched City play. And I was just like, how are you not seeing this and thinking, like, I get it, they got a draw, but like a draw was just not good enough on the day. It is being thrown at us like a stripper in a strip club. Like, they're throwing it at us like it's ours. Like, please.
Even God will be surprised if we fuck this up. I can't lie.
Yeah, I'm like, please, like, so I don't know. There's just no way, so they just have to. And like, everything is coming to a nice little situation. I mean, everything can kind of change. I don't know what's going on the training ground, but we have almost a fully fit squad now, except for Timber and Marino. We're actually playing well right now, which is like, I don't know. I thought Fulham, that was the best we played since Newcastle.
Exactly. Best we played in a long time. It's in the
Yeah,
Premier
that
League.
was the
I know
best we
people
played
report
since
to other
Newcastle.
stuff. You're right.
So, yeah, it just must be. It has to. We must. That's it. We need to must like nobody's ever musted before. Just
I
do
can't
it.
lie, Jess. I think I know mathematically everything's to play for, yeah, but I genuinely believe, and cool, I look stupid, but if we beat West Ham, I think we've won the Premier League. That don't mean let's all be complacent, but that's the one I'm looking at. Life
Yeah,
is
West Ham.
weird in that we could be great against them and fuck up against Burnley, but I think that's the game. Like, I think that's, of all the remaining fixtures, I think that's where City are looking at and saying, oh, maybe that's a bit of a wobble. As we said earlier, West Ham fighting for their lives, London derby. We are in that period where shock results are happening. Maybe people would say that with Everton. So it's a weird one, man. And like you said there, if we just say there's no margin for error, every game's a cup final, we have to get over the line. These are all facts, but they're things that we've said like for the last few weeks. So it's like there needs to be kind of new slogans. Like, I'll be genuinely surprised if we don't win this. I've seen stranger things, but if we don't win the Premier League, there's issues. And you said it there. It feels like everything's coming together. Saka, for me, obviously, I looked at the Fulham game and thought, oh, you know what, it's Fulham, but he looked free psychologically and he looked fully fit. Obviously, did what he did. Gyökeres is finding his feet. Eze's been doing what he's doing. Miles Lewis-Skelly is finally being played in midfield.
Yeah.
It just feels like everything's clicking. The manager's understanding
yeah.
stuff. And then you bring it to the Atletico game, Jess. It's like when Arteta's saying, oh, I'm going with my gut feeling. If you saw all the things I had on my iPad, I just went with my gut. This is kind of the evolution we wanted from Arteta. Now, it might be too little too late, or it could be better late than never type of thing.
It feels like better late than never. I think oftentimes, like, Arteta doesn't hit, like, when we're hot, he doesn't stick with what's hot, like what's working right now. He goes back to something that feels maybe a little bit more safe, or, changes something for no reason. Genuinely was flabbergasted that the same 11 started against Atletico that started against Fulham.
Yeah.
And I think, I could see, maybe Hincapié coming in, but Miles Lewis-Skelly still being there shocked me. I was like, yeah, because it's not about Zubi not being good. Like, that's not it. But he's needed sitting for a while. Yeah. And Miles gives us something that Zubi can't do at the minute. And so you just need to, Miles Lewis-Skelly was one of the only players last season that I felt when we were in a moment of like really needing personality. He showed that. And there's no other time that you need personality than right now, So I
Business
think
end.
100%. I think like what I don't even what do you I know the only person that I know for sure why they're starting to play better is Jokeris, and that's because he got his girl back. Like 100%. Like that is what it is. I'm so sorry. Like he got that girl. That girl must stay. She must. Like she do not leave. Stay. Stay. He got his girl back. He's playing. Okay, cool. But Trossard.
Yeah, where's that
What
Trossard been? First half of the season, it was there. He ran away. He's back in the last 2 games.
Trossard? What? Also, I don't know if you like we were talking about this a couple weeks ago. Arteta's played Ben White into form. Like he's not perfect, but he's usable. He's good. I
Best
thought he
game
was
in a
really
minute
good
against
against Atletico
Atletico.
Madrid. So yeah, like I think we're in one of the strongest positions that we've been in all season and at the business end of a season ever under Mikel. Use that. Use that. I feel like the entire team is on the right page. So it's just up to Arteta to get the chemistry right on the pitch at the right time.
And we're finally getting some momentum. And that's the main thing, whether it's individually, whether it's collectively. Like, I'm not going to lie, first half of the season, the only thing that surprised me was Trossard, because Trossard was banging in goals. He was doing
Right.
madness. Since 2026 started, he's been shit. Let's call it for what it is. In the last 2 games, I don't know if he's had a good night's sleep. He's done very well. He's done extremely well. So shout out to all of them. And Arteta's, again, I look at it because he can't be stupid. He knows Miles Lewis-Skelly can play in midfield. He knows if you play to Yoker
Yeah.
as his strength. Obviously, you made the thing about getting his girl back. The whole Benjamin White stuff, he's probably known these kind of things. I don't know whether it's all coincidentally worked out or if he was kind of thinking about this towards the end of the season. I think that's a bit of a naive way of thinking, but I'm just happy to see that this is the case, man. That's a good question. I don't want to jump ahead, yeah, but Misunderstood Ninja said it there, yeah. Like, how do you feel about Benjamin White against Carrot Skeeler? Because I'll be real, shout out to Ben. I hope we give you a great farewell tour. Timber, I don't know how you get fit. You need to get fit. You need to do it today.
I don't think, honestly, I don't think Timber will be fit for the game. I don't think he'll be fit. I don't. I think
Breaking my heart, man.
That it kind of feels like one of those injuries that are worse than what people are saying.
So groin knock.
Yeah, but groin injuries, we've seen those in the past. They take a long time to get fit from.
Exactly.
Him running up to the crowd, that video of him and him struggling to run towards the crowd with the rest of the players at the end of that Atletico Madrid game, and I get it that idealistically you'd want Timber. But if it ends up being Ben White, then it ends up being Ben White.
Yeah, it is what it is, and it's not what it's not.
Yeah, I just don't. I cannot. If Timber is fit, how fit will he be? Being that he hasn't played since Everton. Everton was
Could have
in
told you the
March.
last time I saw him,
Yeah. So listen, if it's Ben, we have to put all of our energy behind Ben. It is what it is. If he gets cooked, the good thing about Ben is that whatever he can't do going one way, he definitely adds quite a bit going the other way. So I don't know, but I will say this: I probably wouldn't play Mascara. And the only reason why I say that is because I feel like it just might be a little too soon for him to play the biggest game in the history of Arsenal Football Club.
and of his career.
Yeah, exactly. In his own career, yeah, I would trust Ben more. Also, understanding he's going to get cooked. It just is what it is. I thought Kvaratskhelia turned Timber inside out at the Emirates. Like it's not easy. Like he's just, I don't know.
A world-class
that guy
player.
scares the crap
player.
out of me. Yeah. So, but yeah, at the end of the day, when we get there, we get there. But right now, West Ham. That's all that matters. That's it.
Do you think Miles Lewis-Skelly and Rice is his first choice pivot long term? And does Lewis-Skelly change if you wanted a midfielder? Because we got him, Zubi, and Rice now.
Long term, I don't think you chase somebody for 2 years and then all of a sudden they're not a part of the conversation anymore. So he chased Zubamendi. I think Zubamendi went through. I think as fans, and I'm like this as well. We're very fickle, so it's like all we remember is what he was in these last month or so.
Yeah, but they have to remember the first half of the season where he was balling.
That first half of the season, he genuinely was a revelation in my eyes. So you know, I just think that it adds, you know what, the Miles Lewis Skelly playing in midfield has made it such that we do not have to go out there and buy somebody like Buadi or another like
You
young kind
reckon?
of like, I don't think we do. I don't think we do.
So not a midfielder full stop, or are you saying you don't need to spend that much money? You might be
We
able to
don't
get
need
a
to spend
cheaper kind of.
any more money on the pivot, I don't think. In my opinion, I don't think we do.
I
I don't
think you're
want
playing a
four
dangerous
I don't
game
think we
there,
need
Jess.
4 players in the pivot. We have so many other things that we could focus on. We're gonna need a fullback, we're gonna need forwards for sure. That forward line still needs surgery, you know, so I don't think so. Miles Lewis Skelly saves you about 100 million pounds. Like,
So if
and remember
Norgard
when
leaves, go on,
um
go on.
remember what I told you about how shook up I was about that rumor about Miles Lewis Skelly
It was
even
dark.
being
I thought we lost.
mentioned?
I thought we lost, Jess. I can't lie. I thought we
Oh,
lost. I thought we
I
was
was
losing.
I was like, under no circumstances can you sell Miles Lewis Skelly. And
Facts.
could you imagine if we had actually sold him to Manchester United? Do you
But there would
get
have been some
how
fans. Oh my god,
stupid that would have
100%
been?
profit.
He is not, and this is no shade to this young man, but this is not, you know, Emil, this is not that. You know, Miles Lewis Skelly is amazing. And so, yeah, I think he does save us quite a bit, or at least means that you can replace Norgard with him seamlessly. And then you're kind of like, you've upgraded almost, you know, Hincapié and Calafiori are going to basically handle that left back
We
position.
might need another left back.